Hi, I'm Ray Kincaid, and this is Kristen Leininger with Meta-Physiques Incorporated, personal training studio here in Brandon, Florida. We're going to be doing a series of video blogs from here on out, trying to do them once a week for you. And I know that it's the holiday season, and it's typically a time where everybody's concerned about their waistline. And so our next few segments are going to kind of focus on some alternative methods to ab training. With that being said, you know, being the holiday season, you want to cut down on the gluttony a little bit, and obviously if you are consuming a few extra calories, there's no substitute for a little extra cardiovascular work to help offset that a little bit. But that's it, let's get started. One of the biggest obstacles we run into here at the studio is, particularly with new clients coming in, is how do I get my lower back out of abdominal training? I always feel this pressure in my low back when I'm doing certain abdominal moves. You're not always going to be able to eliminate the lower back from abdominal moves. It plays a big part, and it's going to kind of strengthen right along with the abdomen. That's why certain systems have become popular in abdominal training, like the plank, because it's training the lower abs, particularly the lower abs and the lower back as a system. But there's no good substitute for knee raises, leg raises, crunches, and certain forms of sit-ups. So we're going to kind of run through those moves and show you some methods of kind of tricking your lower abdomen into developing some good strength. For this series of moves, we're just going to be using a flat bench. And what I've done here with our flat bench is I've set her backwards on it. And for the section where your butt typically is, it angles. So sometimes if you've got a little bit of strain on your neck or your upper shoulders, that can be a good idea, is to flip it around and use that angled up a little bit to take some of that impact off. So with our combination ab moves, we're going to look at two different typical strength training moves, which is the dumbbell pullover and the dumbbell fly. What Kristen's doing right now is a typical dumbbell pullover. And if you don't know the form on this already, she's coming back above the head only to where these are about level with the temples and back. You don't want to go real far back with your dumbbell pullover. You start to feel a lot of shoulder stress in that, keep it a little bit more shallow. If you have shoulder pain, just limit the range of motion a little bit on it until you're better. So this is a great one to bring in some of that abdominal work that we were talking about. So let's start with bringing that right knee into the chest. Every time you go back for the stretch on the pullover, we're going to very carefully take that leg out, pause, bring it back here, pause. So now she's bringing in some lower abdominal work into the dumbbell pullover. So we're getting a lot of different things going on here at once. You want to keep the toe nice and pointed, firm in the leg, firm in the quad. Go ahead and do the other leg so they can see it a little bit better there, Kristen. Back and forth. Inhaling and exhaling as it comes over, right there. Tighten up the abdomen on every stroke. Now we're doing it with some dumbbell flies, same moves, so you can see just about anything that you do flat on your back with your typical strength training moves, and I'm not going to go into the form of all of them at the moment, but we can add in that particular abdominal move. Let's take it to a little bit more advanced level. This one's going to require a little bit of strength in the lower back. I wouldn't recommend this for a real low-level beginner, but I can pretty quickly get people involved in this when they come through here at the studio. She's opening up the fly, and on every move right here, we just want to make this little squeeze with the legs. It's a very limited range of motion. This isn't a full leg raise where you're dropping the legs all the way down. She's going to keep it right here, pause. She's bringing it back, squeezing. Really connects on the mid-abdomen right here. But you want to be very cautious of what you're doing here with the legs and make sure you're putting the brakes on here and especially here. Not letting them drop down too much. Deep breath here, exhale at the top. Now what I've done is I've taken the bench and I've angled it up a little bit so that Kristen is able to do some straight leg raises here with her tricep. Sometimes we call this a skull crusher or just basic tricep extension. This enables her to do a straight leg raise with a lot less pressure on the low back. Now, that being said, you're not going to completely eliminate the low back from these harder ab moves. It's always going to be there. It needs to get stronger. So if you're feeling some pressure in there, that's okay. What you don't want is the bad pain or the harsh pressure. Now you'll notice some points about this exercise. that we like to see here is the toes pointed on the way down and then the toes pulled back. Here at the top, she's getting a good hamstring stretch as she brings those legs up here to the top if she pulls the toes back. So we've got the legs in a nice solid line and pointed. You want to avoid the legs bending on your way down. As soon as they bend right here at the knee, you're going to put a lot more negative stress on the low back. So you want to kind of keep the legs straight as an arrow there. Some very, very slight, soft slack in the knee as she goes. With this tricep extension, we've just got the dumbbells here angled straight up. And it just makes a little bit friendlier grip for that exercise than holding it in the center here. And you also don't have the tendency to rock the wrist forward at the top. Show them the wrong way, Kristen. When you take that wrist and you rock it forward at the top, all the pressure comes off the tricep and comes off the exercise while you're doing it. So we're just holding the bells kind of at the bell portion there, thumb and forefinger around the bell. If you were to set this bench down, again, that's going to make the exercise quite a bit more advanced, and there's going to be, yes, a lot more pressure on the low back, but it's going to make the abdominal move harder as well. So once again, I'm Ray Kincaid, this is Kristen Leininger, and signing off. Hopefully you'll catch us again next time on our next blog.